Hey everyone, how's it going? Matthew Bailey here, and welcome to another 2020 movie review. Unfortunately, this is not a movie that was recently released, though. It's a movie that got released way back at the beginning of the year that I just never got a chance to see. But now that I just saw it on demand, and I've seen the other two films before I saw this one because I do not want to have a similar situation to when I saw Bill and Ted 3, even though I never saw the first two. So this time I've seen both of the original films before I saw this movie, and you probably can guess what it is by now, and that is Bad Boys for Life. Yep, that's right, I have seen the third Bad Boys film, but I did see the first two films this time before I saw this one. And I have to admit, this one is actually one of the better films out of all three. Mostly because of the fact that this movie was not directed by a director who I think seriously messed up the Transformers films after the first movie, and also even though he wasn't the director on those films, he kind of ruined it either way as the producer, and that was for the Ninja Turtles films, and that was Michael Bay. Yep. This film is not directed by him, and I don't think he had anything to do with this film. I mean, I think he did have a cameo in the film, as well as the second film. I didn't see where he was in the second film, but he only had an acting role in this film, which is so much better than him actually having anything to do with the behind the scenes or anything. But enough of that. I need to review this movie. So basically, Bad Boys for Life is, like I said, the third installment of the Bad Boys franchise, starring Will Smith and I forgot the other guy's name, but they basically play the characters Mike Lowrey and Marcus Burnett, and it's been years since the first sequel got the events of the second movie took place, and there was definitely a huge twist in this that happens in this movie that was kind of hinted at in the first movie, but they never fully addressed it. And since it's been out for a while, I can kind of say what it is because so spoiler warning. But basically, the twist that happens in this movie is that the character of Mike Lowrey, played by Will Smith, he apparently had a son before the events of the first film, and he apparently didn't ever tell his partner or whatever when he first joined the force. And that son decided, and I think that's what's going to be explored in the next installment if they ever do the fourth film, and that's that the son is actually going to joining his father, played by Will Smith, in a new adventure. And I gotta say, this was a much better Bad Boys film than the other two movies, mostly because of the fact that that Michael Bay had no connection to the behind-the-scenes crew or anything, especially producing or directing, or screenwriting. So I think it was a lot better than the first two films, and I'm curious to see what the future of the Bad Boys franchise holds, because there are some franchises that only got up to 4 films, and if they do make a 4th film for this franchise, I hope it can continue. But even if movies do make it up to 4 films, they actually stay strong. I mean, there is one movie franchise I can think of that only has 4 films that didn't do so well, and I'm hoping for a 5th film, though, because I kind of like that franchise, but I'm not talking about that one. So, honestly, Bad Boys for Life was a pretty interesting film. Like I said, I would have seen it in theaters when it first came out because, number one, I was working at a theater when this movie came out. The only reason why I didn't see it in theaters, though, was because of how busy it was going to be, and I didn't want... And I was right, though, because Bad Boys for Life did keep the theaters pretty busy up until February, when the supposed pandemic started, and we weren't getting as much crowds as we used to for movies like Sonic and Onward and stuff like that. But honestly, I'm glad I waited. I decided to wait until the movie came out on demand to see it. And I gotta say, this is a new franchise that I'm really starting to get into. But for now, let me give you my rating of this movie. So for my rating of Bad Boys for Life, honestly, I was pretty surprised. This movie actually surprised me, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna give Bad Boys for Life a 4.3 out of 5. Yep, 4.3 out of 5. That's a pretty decent number, and it's a lot higher than most of the other films I've made this year, where I did a 4 out of 5 and stuff. But yeah, if I had to give the other two movies to this franchise ratings, I would probably give the first film like a 3.5, and the second film maybe a 3.9. I mean, they were still pretty good, even though Michael Bay was the one directing them, but I still thought they were okay. And then but this one definitely deserves a 4.3 out of 5. It got better after every movie, and this one really got it. So, anyways, that's all for now in my review of Bad Boys for Life, and as always, I will see all you dudes in the next video.